All right. Good day, everyone. I'm just here to share with us a few things. Um, First of all, I want to say, which I would also be putting in an illustration. I want to say that waiting is part of man's process. It's part of human process. It's part of human life. It's part of one's existence, right? It's part of it's not a it's not to our disadvantage. Yes, it is an advantage to us as men, you and this is the illustration I'll be painting. I am a barber. I barb, and this is my it's my profession. It's what I do. And there was something that happened recently. I was giving a haircut to somebody, and I realized that at the first, even while I started the haircut, it didn't really look like the final haircut or the picture that the person had in mind. And immediately, it occurred to me that oh, all right, this is the first part, because this is not the first time I'm doing this. So okay, this is the first part. It's normal for it to be like this. Then as I progressed, and I found out it started to look more like what the person wanted. It started to look more like what the picture the person showed me. And the final part of it was when I had to do the carving, which some would call shaving. I had to do it, and that was the best part. Of course, any guy would tell you that that's the best part of the barbing process. And after that, it came into shape. It came into the proper shape. Now, this is the lesson. Imagine that during the process, during the second phase or the third phase, or even before the carving, the person I was barbing just decided to move or just stand up and got tired of the whole process. What do you think would have become of the whole process? It would not have ended at that expected end. So when God is saying that I have ordained you, and in the book of Jeremiah, I know what you would be, and I would bring you to an expected end. So that means that God has a mind, and the only thing you can do, because you can actually, if you want to become what God wants you to become, the only thing you can do to make sure that you have this peace of mind is to wait on God, to know what He has expected in His mind. By knowing that, you will be able to be at peace even when you are actively waiting on God to do these things for you, to actually bring you to that expected end. I believe that most of the times what brings anxiety to the hearts of men is because we do not really know what God has in mind. And so even though when the process is becoming something we don't like, or is taking too long, we tend to want to leave because we actually do not know what God has in mind. And so this is my advice, and this is what I'm saying. This is me, my word of advice to us. Waiting is part of man's process, and if you would trust God to bring you to an expected end, then it is also important to trust the waiting process. And one thing, like I said, one thing that you will do to give yourself the advantage is to inquire of God of that expected end that He has in mind. If you can do that, then the whole waiting process will be okay. To be of, you would also have that peace of mind. You have that confidence. All right, so stay blessed.